Pasquale Maggiore here with another edition of Give Me 20 Minutes. That's what I need. I need you to give me 20 minutes and check out this podcast. It is Saturday, May 24th here in Western New York and beyond. But by looking outside, by looking at your weather app on your mobile device, you might think that it's October, maybe November, possibly even March. The weather here in Western New York the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 days has not been very good. It has not been very seasonal, and it's been leading to a lot of people making very bad jokes about the weather on their social media. I am totally fine with people complaining about the weather, but for God's sakes, be entertaining about it. Maybe run a theme, maybe do some consecutive posts making light of the weather situation. Don't just go on there and complain. Be entertaining, be informative, and hopefully that's what I'm going to be here for the next 20 minutes right here on Gimme 20 Minutes. We attempted to do this episode on Tuesday night, streaming on Facebook, X, and YouTube. However, we had some technical difficulties with the program. Hopefully, we're not having that right now. The only technical difficulty may be my new haircut. So if you want to find out more about that, leave that in the comments section. Going with a summer type cut, trying something new. But enough about that. If you want to find out more information about the program, you want to find out more about me, if you're checking this out for the very first time, make sure you're following me on Instagram and X at WNY Pasquale. Once again, I mentioned that this program is streaming on X currently. It's very weird because I had to do the whole $11 a month plan in order to do the streaming. So we will see how this works. We'll see if it's worth it. We'll see how it goes. But once again, trying some different things when it comes to this podcast. And we'll see where it goes. We'll see how it goes. But I want to talk about a story that we didn't get to cover on Tuesday night when we did an episode of Tuesday Night Talk. Of course, those of you that know me personally know I'm taking a bit of a break from the radio scene. Some developments in life are making that happen, but I will be back on radio sooner, hopefully sooner than later. I don't know. I can't give you a definitive answer, but hopefully we will be back on radio very soon. But in the meantime, I am subscribing to this great service, which is known as Riverside.fm, that does half of the work for you. I've talked about this in the past. I am not a very good podcaster. The reason for that is I'm a procrastinator and I'm somewhat lazy. It's 1:52 in the afternoon on Saturday. I had intended on doing this podcast this morning at like 7, 8 o'clock. A lot of the home tasks, a lot of the home chores got in the way. As you might be able to hear my cat chomping on his food in the background as we're doing this, not in a radio studio. We're doing this in my back bedroom. But once again, I wanted to do this earlier this morning to get this done, but I wasn't able to do that. Got a burst of energy, so I'm doing it right here this afternoon. And thank you again so much for those of you that have checked out the podcast, that have sent me words of encouragement. Words of negativity are okay too. If you think this show sucks, please tell me. Don't be afraid to send me a text and say, hey, Pasquale, stop doing this. This show is terrible. You're not entertaining. You're not informative. Stop doing it. I have no problem when it comes to negative criticism. Negative criticism actually makes you a better human being. It makes you stronger because you either A, improve or continue to be crappy. But speaking of something that isn't crappy, I want to talk about this story that came out during the week, and it's going to lead into a broader conversation about the current state of affairs when it comes to downtown Buffalo. So the story being Osteria 166 pivots to events and catering amid changing dining landscape. Once again, I grabbed this article from WGRZ.com from Lauren Hall. Lauren did a great job when it came to laying out this story. There was another story done by Buffalo Business First, but I am not subscribing to check out that article. No offense. Sorry, but I have enough subscription services in my life and I don't need another one. So let's take a look at this. If you're familiar with Osteria 166, a great establishment in downtown Buffalo, great place to go get some food, great place to go get some takeout. The owner, Nick, is very generous. Never had the opportunity to meet him, talk to him over the phone a couple times, exchanged emails back and forth because he was very generous. I work for a non-for-profit during the day, so Nick helped us out with a few donations over the years, and I'm grateful for him doing that for us. You know, he's very charitable. He is involved in a lot of stuff when it comes to the Western New York landscape. Also, one of the heavy involved when it comes to the meatball street brawl. Again, I haven't had a chance to get down there for that, but he's one of the organizers, one of the brains behind that whole operation, a great event that takes place in the fall in Western New York. Maybe this year will be the year that I get down there to check it out, because stories like this make me feel like I'm not doing enough when it comes to supporting local businesses. I talk about this on the program every week. You know, make your money count. Shop local, do what you can to support these local businesses. And then when I see a story like this about a great business like Osteria 166 reorganizing, changing their business strategy, once again, it makes me feel like I'm just not doing enough. But let's dive into this article. Once again, thank you so much, Lauren Hall, for putting this out there and getting this great information out there about this great local business. I'm going to read a little bit of this and then I'm going to take it from there. So after nearly 12 years as a staple of Buffalo's downtown dining scene, Osteria 166 is making changes to its business model to focus on events and catering while staying open for dinner service 3 nights a week. Patillo says the decision comes at a pivotal time. Speaking is hard. At a pivotal, let's try that again. Pivotal time for the restaurant. We're actually coming up on our 12th anniversary, which is in about 2 weeks. And we started this up when downtown was really just starting an uptick. Patillo said, the equation has certainly been our amazing staff over the last 12 years and our guests. They have become family. It's part of our slogan, come in as guests, leave as family. And as you know, if you've been into the restaurant, the staff at Osteria is wonderful. They're very welcoming. They're very friendly. They do a great job when it comes to serving you. I went in there last summer. I was running some errands downtown. I needed a quick lunch, stopped in, hung out at the bar for a little bit, waited for my food, and the bartender was tremendous, engaged in some conversation, and, is really, really a great atmosphere they have down there. More from the article. Recently, the restaurant's traditional a la carte model has become difficult to sustain while their catering business has flourished. So there's a positive right there. A lot of people who don't understand what goes into doing an a la carte, Patillo says, we have to bring all the food in, we have to prep it, we have to get it all ready to go and hire the dishwashers, the cooks, the servers, the bussers, and we say a prayer and hope people show up. According to Patillo, nearly 75% of Osteria's revenue now comes from catering that includes weddings, private parties, and corporate events, both in-house and off-site. We're in a very unique opportunity where we have the ability to kind of put out there for the summer and say, look, we all know times are tough down here. We're giving it one last shot to make sure we can go make a go of it, but we have to change our business model a little bit. Doing just a la carte every day is not working, Patillo said. So we can approach this a few different ways. You know, there's always those stories on the news about this business needing to scale back, this business taking a break, this business closing down. Let's be thankful that Osteria 166 will continue to go forward, even though it's with a different model. As the article mentions, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, you can go down there and grab some dinner. I definitely will be doing that because, once again, finding out these stories and finding out that a business has to switch focus for what they're doing you really want to go out of your way to support that business, do whatever you can. I will, pop in there now from time to time now that I know this is going on. And once again, as I mentioned before, my interactions with Nick have been great. Great business owner, very involved in the community. You want to support those people, keep those people going, and we definitely will do that. So thinking about what is going on in downtown Buffalo, has downtown Buffalo lost a lot of its luster? On the Tuesday night talk program that I did on WEBR radio, we talked about Ingram Micro moving downtown, which is going to give downtown Buffalo an influx. You talk about the big Seneca One Tower, a lot of businesses are down there, but more clearly needs to be done to get more people to come downtown, to get more people to spend money downtown. The big hullabaloo in the news 2 to 3 months ago, the closing of Bray Miller's Market, and it was more of a blame game. Like, is it Bray Miller's fault? Is it the local politician's fault? Whose fault is it that Bray Miller couldn't sustain a successful business model downtown with their location, and it just became, again, a bunch of mudslinging, playing the blame game, and then we're making references to downtown Buffalo not having enough options when it comes to grocery stores. I mean, we have the great Top Supermarket on Niagara Street down there. There's a number of bodegas. There's a couple other places where people can go. This term food desert gets thrown around so often. There's not enough places for people to go and get their food. I don't live down there anymore. I did live downtown at one point in time, and I did utilize, once again, the Tops Market on Niagara Street. I utilized some other bodegas in the area, some other corner stores, things like that, just to get the basic necessities. But, when that story, again, like the Bray Miller story comes out, it's not about the root of the problem. It's about who can we blame? Why did this not go well? And who can we blame for that? And, we have seen stories, once again, over the past few years about business declining in downtown Buffalo since the pandemic. Not many people going downtown since the pandemic. Speaking for myself, I live in Niagara County, so a trip downtown for me might as well be like going to Pennsylvania, unless there's a concert at the KeyBank Center, unless there's a wrestling event at the KeyBank Center, unless there is something going on at Salem Field, maybe a show at Shays. I really don't go out of my way to go to downtown Buffalo because there really isn't anything that's pulling me to go to downtown Buffalo. And that's very concerning. I do have a few people that I know that own businesses in downtown. I'd like to go down there and support them, but I just don't get there because there's not that pull. There's not that appeal. Canal Side popped up. Canal Side was good for a good maybe 3, 4, 5 years, but what unique has come to Canal Side? You have a beer garden, you have an ice cream stand, you have the carousel. You go a little further the other way, you have the Liberty Hound, a great local restaurant to hit up. But really, what is the draw to go to downtown? You have the casino. Don't gamble, don't care about that. So, these people, developers, politicians, and those alike really need to start looking in the mirror and looking at themselves to see what they're doing to get people to come down. So great restaurants like Osteria 166 don't have to change their business model. Maybe they can stay open 5, 6 days a week doing normal business because you have these people coming downtown, spending their money and supporting local business. I remember a time maybe 6 or 7 years ago, we were going down to, I believe it was a Bison's game on a Saturday night, walking down Main Street near where the subway is, the Metro rail, and there was absolutely nothing going on. There were no people out, and there was nothing going on. There was no buzz in the city. And that is something that needs to be addressed. What can be brought downtown as a greater attraction to attract people down there that want to go down there, spend their money and eat not only on a Friday, Saturday, maybe even a Thursday, but a Tuesday or a Wednesday? What are you going to do to get people go downtown and support these people with their businesses, with their investments, and make sure that people stay downtown and want to do business downtown? because that is the place to be. So when I saw this story once again about Osteria 166, it really caught my attention and it really was concerning. And again, you play the blame game. You say this person's at fault, that person's at fault. But once again, at what point in time are the, local leaders, elected officials, politicians going to take a look in the mirror and say, we need to do something here to get people to come downtown? We're on the verge of opening up the new Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park in 2026. There was a lot of conversation, a lot of talk about why isn't the new stadium going downtown? A lot of conversation, a lot of talk from people who don't even go to Bills games, people who don't understand how hard it would be to get in and out of a downtown stadium. Wouldn't be easy at all. The infrastructure just isn't there to support a downtown stadium. If you put it on the waterfront, you have 2, maybe 3 ways to go out. If you put it where they were talking about clearing out the Perry projects, which are actually getting a lot done. I was down there last week, and it looks like they're actually finally making progress on clearing those out. Whatever they plan to do developmental wise down there, we shall see. But, you put it there, you're going to be right next to the 190, but still you're only getting 2 or 3 ways to get out of there, leading to another traffic nightmare. So I like how these people have all these opinions, all these thoughts, all this commentary about the stadium should be downtown. The stadium should have a dome. Can we use the stadium for youth sports? Other ways we can use the stadium that aren't realistic. So once again, stadium in Orchard Park, done in 2026, had, it just seems like this is just another frustration I'm sure a lot of people have about living in New York State. It's always next year. It's always 3 years after that. Oh yeah, maybe we'll get around to that when I talk about the infrastructure downtown not being ready to handle a stadium. So many things have to go into this beforehand. So I am perfectly fine with the new Highmark Stadium being in Orchard Park. I just really hope that they're able to properly develop the area around the stadium with more hotels, with a couple attractions, maybe some shopping. I haven't had the opportunity to go to Lambeau Field in Green Bay, but that is on my list to get out there and check that out. I heard that's basically what the vibe is out in Green Bay. So I want to check that out and compare that to what we have here in Orchard Park. But, once again, in closing, just an unfortunate story that Osteria 166 has to change their business model from a lack of traffic and other things going on downtown. So once again, if you're ready, willing, and able, please consider supporting Osteria 166, as well as any other local business you want to support. Don't get lazy. We talked about these Starbucks workers on the program last week. Another, frustration, that story being in the news. And I see the news was running this week with the Shake Shack story opening up in Amherst. Great. It's another chain restaurant. It's another, ABC, cookie cutter chain restaurant. Big deal. Who cares? Support local business. Do what you can to support those mom and pop, shops, and make sure you're spending your money where it counts. But I am running out of time. This is just give me 20 minutes. So I wanted you to give me 20 minutes. And those of you that gave me 20 minutes, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much once again for checking out this podcast. And thank you very much for sending some feedback my way. Once again, if you want to find me on Instagram or X at WNY Pasquale. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. That's also at WNY Pasquale. My goal is to put these programs out on a regular basis. Once again, Riverside FM makes things so much easier for me. Again, I mentioned I'm a procrastinator. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to podcasting. That's why I prefer radio. There's been times when I've done a podcast, I will sit down, I'll start talking. I don't like the direction it was going, so I'll hit delete. Come back, try it again. Don't like that either. Hit delete again. And then I'll walk away, say to myself, I'm going to go do this errand or go do this activity. I will come back to this podcast. I never come back to the podcast, but Riverside FM really makes it a lot easier for me. So once again, thank you so much for checking out the program. And Buffalo Championship Wrestling, Saturday, September 27th. If you want to find out more about BCW, at BCWWNY on all forms of social media. But once again, I'm out of time, but I will be back here soon. Once again, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. watching, I should say. Excuse me. I will talk to you again very soon back here. Go Bills. Thanks so much.